Hello, I'm Jared McNett. I'm a political reporter with the Sioux City Journal and frequent guest on the On Iowa Politics podcast. I'm here today to chat with independent candidate Dan Wahl, who is running in Iowa House District 10 against incumbent John Wills. Hello, Dan.
Hello, Jared.
So I think maybe the easiest way to start is to just get a little background about you for folks who might not know you. So how old are you? What sort of work do you do? And where do you live?
I'm 55 years old. I'm a farmer here in Dickinson County, born and raised here my entire life. Farm on a small family farm, have a wife and three children.
And what are your proudest accomplishments to date?
I guess just surviving the industry through all its ups and downs. As a farmer, I've seen, I started farming in the late 80s, the farm crisis, farmed through the flood of 93 and several different droughts. I think that has really made me who I am today as far as weathering the storm.
And yeah, what in particular lessons did you learn from some of those down periods that you still keep with you?
Resilience, never give up. Um, you know, the flood of 93, before the internet was around, the farmers were passing around a copied off piece of paper of a stork eating a frog, and the frog has got his hands around the stork's neck. And I think that it was the epitome of the attitude that we need is like, you may be down, but you can stop what's going to happen to you in the future if you have some resolve to put your foot forward and have some initiative.
Hmm. And then what initially made you want to run for the legislature this year?
Well, it all circles around the carbon pipelines. I'm a farmer that's affected with the proposed pipeline supposedly coming through my ground. And about a year ago, a little longer than a year ago, when we first started having meetings and neighbors were talking about what's going on, and right from the get-go, the pipeline company, the one that I'm on is Summit Carbon Solutions. Uh, from the first meeting, they've threatened eminent domain to us. And as we sit today, we have been dealt the Schedule H, and it's still in Dickinson County. 70%, 75% of the farmers do not want to sign a voluntary easement. Um, it's coming down to I've actually got a lawsuit against me from Summit Carbon Solutions for failure to letting them enter my ground for survey, which we're fighting with a lawyer. I'm sure you were well aware of the uh, the lawsuits going around. The first one was down there in Sioux City Court 2 weeks ago, and the exact same thing is the injunction on me, but it's the different pipeline company, and I believe they're going to go forward with the lawsuits. So I mean, I'm the face of what it looks like to stand up to big corporate money. Circling back around to what got me in was okay. We were proposed this pipeline, and if you didn't like it, we're standing up and fighting against it. And the first, as we get our bearings, what's our defense? And as we start forming a group and talking about it, your legislators are a huge part of this. And as you dig into that, you start asking questions, and at the political forums, our representative was asked, what can we do about this? Can you help us? And he says, well, we can't stop the pipeline. They're in the middle of the project, and that'd be unfair to them. And I just thought, are you kidding me? What world are you from when you're supposed to represent us? And that's virtually saying you're with the pipelines. Well, Jared, then you go to the ethics board reports, and you can tell every one of his donors who's donated to him, and it includes Summit Carbon Solutions lobbyists. I'm standing up for trying to do the right thing here, and it's like I can't believe this is legal in today's society that the political representatives gets money from the big industry and then fails to represent us. And what do you do about that? You try and get him fired from his job, and no one else is willing to stand up, and I am.
So do you think kind of more broadly across the state that legislators have not talked about this issue enough?
I mean, they were approached heavily at the last session by different lobbyists trying to get a bill passed for no eminent domain for CO2 pipelines. There was one Republican senator out of Sioux County, Jeff Taylor, that took up our fight and introduced the bill, Senate File 2160, and went through subcommittee. We supported the subcommittee members. They passed it on. We've never had better support for a bill before. Went to full committee and never even got brought up. It died. And that just tells me the administration is trying to push us down and not deal with it. And there you go again. Let's follow the money back. If they had the true interest of the people, and I guarantee you the general population and 70% of the landowners do not want this, why are not our elected politicians listening to us?
And then, if you were to be elected in November, would you say this would be one of the issues you would make a top priority of yours?
It's the priority. It's so yeah, it's it's the issue I'm running on for sure.
Mhm.
But then to get to the broader point, if you got a legislator that's willing to side with whoever's paying him the money on the lobbyist side and ignore the constituents of your district, it certainly is not the only time he's done this. I've got a child in school yet. My two older daughters went to the Spirit Lake School. The teachers have been just more than forthcoming with openness and wanting to communicate. And I think we got a wonderful public school system. I think it needs to be supported. And my opponent just pushes the private school vouchers left and right. I don't see where he thinks our schools are going so wrong and needs to be pushed into a private voucher system. I think my tax money should stay with my public schools. And it just seems like he's doing whatever the agenda of his party is telling him to do and not listening to the people. Once you get talking around, it's like, well, he wants to smile and shake your hand, but he doesn't want to take up your cause.
Yeah, and then ultimately, where do you think the starkest contrasts are between you and your opponent, Mr. Wills? What do you think sets you guys apart the most?
I literally our backgrounds. I mean, I have no interest in being the politician. I believe I've had a call to action, and this is standing up for my rights that I thought I already had. I'm an introvert. I've kept my to myself my entire community. I mean, I've lived here my whole life, and I'm virtually an unknown in my own community, other than my circles. But John Wills is got a totally different background for me. He does work with the NRCS office, which I do business on the FSA side, but never worked with him on any land projects that I need to. We have certain regulations on how we till our land or not till our land, depending on the highly roadableness and that. But I mean, I just feel like he is living with the elites, and I'm down on the common ground of the people in our community.
Yeah, and then ultimately, why do you think voters should go with you in November?
I will listen to what they're telling me. I have zero agenda. I am self-funding my own campaign. I owe nobody nothing. I'm not with a party that's telling me what to say or how to, push an issue. I have nobody accountable except the people in my communities.
Okay, those were all the questions that I had for you this morning. Dan, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Jarrett.